Okay, today Wendell came to say hello to everybody. Wendell is just an absolute sweetheart. He was a rescue from my friend's animal sanctuary, and when I saw him, he was one of 4 kittens that were born at the facility, but not in it. And then they were, of course, taken in. And when I saw Wendell, I said, "Yep, that one's coming home with me." And they allowed me to adopt him and take him home. And Wendell is just an absolute sweetheart. Everything I love in a cat: gentle, affectionate, kind. Just, that's what really wins my heart. And he's just like that. And the very first time our eyes met, I saw into his soul, and I saw he was of that disposition and character. And I said, yep, we're good. We're going to be together. So there's Wendell. And I named him after Kahu Wendell Silva from Kaneohe, Hawaii, who was a dear friend of mine for many, many years and one of the most brilliant spiritual lights this planet has ever had. And he passed away shortly after I adopted Wendell and made sure to let him know that I had named him after him. So this is, I don't know how many of these there'll be, but this is part 3 of Things My Cats Have Taught Me. I encourage you to watch part 1, which is not getting any views. I don't know why. Maybe it got buried. But there's 1, 2, and this is 3. And who knows how many there'll be. But anyway, one of the things that my cats have taught me, or a lesson that they have reaffirmed for me, is that we do not control outcomes. And so focus instead on doing, again, what we say in the Hawaiian language, doing your kuleana, K-U-L-E-A-N-A. Kuleana is your personal duty, your personal charge, that which you are personally responsible for taking care of, that which you are the custodian of. And the things that are outside of that are not your kuleana. So, like the Polish expression, not my circus, not my monkeys, that's not your kuleana. Don't get entangled in all that stuff. That's not your duty, your charge, your concern, your responsibility, your kuleana, okay? So do to the best of your diligence and presence and ability that which is your kuleana, and then let go, because you don't control the outcome. You do not control the results. And as far as how my cats have shown me this, is that all I can do is care for them to the very best of my ability, give them the best environment and the best love and the best food and medical care and everything that I can do that keeps them healthy and happy. And then I don't control what happens beyond that. And also, even more difficult at times to accept, is that neither do the veterinarians. In the case of a serious, life-threatening medical crisis, neither do they control the outcome. They have a more impacting, they have more of an impact than you do on how things might go, but they don't determine it. They don't control outcomes. My friends, we don't control the outcomes. I don't believe this woo-woo stuff we hear a lot about, oh, just think it true. Okay, I understand. There's a huge element of how thoughts do manifest actualities. As science scrambles to try and catch up to where the mystics have always been, I think they said it's something like 17 seconds is where it begins to show actual manifesting a thought held lucidly for 17 seconds, of course longer than that, but from 17 seconds is where it begins to birth that thought into form, into actuality. I understand that, but you're not the only factor. There are so many factors. There is natural law. There is, okay, let's keep it with the cats. What I found in the case of a very serious emergency, life-threatening crisis with my cats, number one, can their body survive? Is their body able to survive this? Number one. If it's no, then you can do all the chanting and all the wishing and hoping that you want. It's not gonna do it. So the body has to be, let's say, recoverable. Number two, do they have the spirit to live? Do they want to live? Do they have the will to live in an adequate amount? Because it matters. And one of the most painful lessons that I realized I goofed up terribly is when 3 of my little baby kittens were born amidst an outbreak of FPV, which is like the worst virus a cat can get. It's probably fatal in most cases. If it's not, it's a miracle that they live. Talking about kittens. Adults, a little better chance, but it's devastating. Because I was so terrified that I was going to lose them to this virus, which is effectively unstoppable. Once it's in your house or with your cats, go ahead and spray all the bleach you want and everything. It's still going to get around, okay? But you can only reduce. You cannot eliminate it. So because I was so terrified that they were going to catch it and therefore would never survive it, and they were far too young to be vaccinated, of course. For that reason, and because I had already lost another kitten, Boomchu, she didn't die from that, but she died from several other very serious complications that all came down on her at once. It was unbelievable for her. A huge part of me died when Boomchu died. And my mind was just like, there's no possible way I can even face the thought that these 3 kittens that I've been caring for, who almost died 2 days after they were born because I didn't even know they were born yet and I separated the mother accidentally. Had I not heard a single mew the next day in the afternoon, they would have been left and starved to death. I didn't even know they had been born yet. So they were already a miracle. But to even face the possibility that they could die from this virus was far more than I could even handle. And so I did not name them, just in case I lost them, in order to try to protect myself from maybe one shade more of unbearable agony, which it is for me. And I thought that was a protection response. I was wrong. I should have named them, because naming is claiming. There is a huge energetic shift when you name your furry children. Cats, dogs, gerbils, guinea pigs, turtles, teacup piggies, whatever, cockatoo, whatever you've got. It is critical that you name them. There is a massive energy shift, and we do not need to understand how things work to be affected by the fact that they work. Okay? Naming is claiming, and they understand that on some kind of a soul level, that they have been claimed because they are named, since they are wanted, because they belong and have value. I kept those kittens energetically out of bounds by not naming them. And I didn't mean to do that. It was a mistake. You live and learn. And the virus came and took 2 of them. One of them died in my arms 30 minutes after I discovered he was sick. I can't tell you the details. I won't go into it, other than to say hell would be a relief from that. And I showed you in the other video, Kailash. He was the surviving 3rd one. One died immediately, one died 2 days later in hospital. And Kailash, although badly affected by brain damage, neuromuscular, he survived. And he's a doll, and I love him. But I also have to watch him flail and stumble around as he tries to run through the house with his legs as if they are a broken apple cart behind him. That's how he moves. But I named him while he was in the hospital, and I named him that because he survived. I've mentioned this to you before. But the point I'm trying to get at with all of this is that we can only do our kuleana. We can only do our best. We can only offer of ourselves to our personal limit. And then we do not control outcomes. So, on one hand, that can be a bit disconcerting, especially if you're someone who craves controlling how things go. By the way, you got to work on that. That's going to crush you for life. I'm not saying to become an indifferent and apathetic, person who believes in nothing, stands up for nothing, has no principles. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying understand that you don't determine outcomes. You don't control how everything goes. You can only throw your contribution into the soup. You can throw in all that you have to help it go more likely this way or that way, according to what is best for that cat or pet or person or situation. But the final outcome does not belong to you. So on the other hand, that can be a bit relieving. Because once you have contributed of yourself all that you can toward increasing the likelihood of it going well, it's no longer your responsibility, and you are relieved of it. I might do all that I possibly can for a cat that I love with all my heart, and it dies. And I will grieve, because the price of great love is great pain. But somewhere deep in that bottomless abyss, there is an occasional glimmer or flicker, which is called, I was never in control of how this was going to go anyway. And sometimes that's the only thing I can hold on to that keeps me from going over the edge with despair and grief. But at least I remembered it. So, in life, tend your own garden. Cultivate your kuleana. Do all that you can that is good and right and proper and pono, a word I constantly use that most of us should know by now from listening to my videos. All that is good, right, correct, proper, and true, and the right thing to do. That's pono. Do what is pono. Malama pono. Take care of your own kuleana. But then, after you have done that, release yourself from the outcome, or how it is received, or how it turns out, because it's not within your control. So be gentle with yourself. From that point on, be gentle and kind with yourself, knowing that you have done all you possibly could to the best of your ability, based on your current highest wisdom and best of intentions and purest of love. And then let go and let God. Release yourself from the outcome, and also how the outcome appears. Don't get entangled in, it's supposed to look like this, it needs to come out this way. If it doesn't look like this, it was a failure, all those things. There are things beyond our control and beyond our understanding, and this is just another phase in, I guess, spiritual maturity, of accepting the actuality that we do not govern everything by our will. Just be pure love. Do all you can in the name of pure love, and then release yourself from what the results are, what the results should look like, what form they must take, and etc. Focus on the process and not the outcome. Devote yourself to the giving, not how the giving impacts change or creates results. And this is just another thing that my cats have taught me, and I have to tell myself constantly and remind myself. Be gentle with yourself after you have done all that you can.